Today's opening tip. I caught Giannis in practice yesterday draining three after three after three. So many threes. Brian, how should upcoming Bucks opponents feel watching this video?
They should put this on in the hotel lobby, Rachel, just to scare everybody. Just have the Bucks put up a screen and get everybody sweating, seeing them nail those
I gotta
threes.
tell you, there were more. At some point, I had to put the camera down and do other things. He was focusing so much on that yesterday. Welcome into The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols. I am here in Orlando with New York Times bestselling author, live from the Cobra Dome, Brian Windhorst. And later in the show, we're scheduled to be joined by six-time NBA champ Scottie Pippen. That's coming up. As well as coming up, we're going to talk a little Russell Westbrook. He is cleared and back at Rockets practice today. How quickly do the Rockets need their super athlete at full strength? We will discuss that. Also, the first scrimmage in Orlando is here. The Clippers and the Magic are tipping off in just moments. We are going to update you throughout the show with how that is going. Now, the Clippers do enter the game with some unfortunate news. Sources told our Malika Andrews last night that Patrick Beverley needed to exit the bubble for an emergency personal matter. He hopes to return soon. Remember, Montrezl Harrell also out of Orlando tending to a family matter, while Landry Shamet and Ivica Zubac, both reportedly not yet even with the team. Marcus Morris, at least, was just cleared for practice this week. Now, Brian, the Clippers are still second in the West. They're a game and a half above the Nuggets, who are also working around unavailable players. Utah, the Thunder, the Rockets, all right behind them. So, Brian, what do you think the impact of all of these growing absences are going to be on the Clippers, especially a vocal leader like Pat Bev?
Yeah, I mean, the Clippers took the floor for this scrimmage a few minutes ago with 10 bodies. I don't know how many of them are actually going to play today. You mentioned the Nuggets a minute ago, 8 players. This is still very much a work in progress. And the thing about it is, Rachel, the Clippers spent the entire regular season trying to get to full strength. Obviously, Paul George was coming back from surgery at the start of the season. Then there were some injuries to some key players. Beverley had a couple of injuries. And while you've got to support the players who are coming back from illness and who are dealing with family emergencies, which are unforeseen, you know, this is another delay to them. And just after the All-Star break, they had started getting it going. They had their whole team together. They played the most impressive basketball of the season. I guess at the end of the day, they don't have to be 100% in full power until mid-August. But obviously, you'd like to have some continuity. And as you mentioned, that's going to be very hard to do.
I saw Doc Rivers earlier today passing by. I teased him that he might have to play tonight. We'll see when they take the floor if that happens or not. Obviously, I think they would prefer, to your point about chemistry, they would prefer to get this machine going. But I do wonder, in an unusual situation like this, where this is a team that feels like it is going to be here for the full 3 months, players may be leaving now to attend to different family things that they wouldn't be leaving for if this was September or October. And that is not to say that these things are or aren't serious. They could be very serious, but they are things that maybe you would not leave an NBA Finals for, but you would leave if you're in the middle of an exhibition season. So I think there's a little bit of that going on with some of these players. Some of these guys probably would leave anyway, because there are certain things that happen in players' lives. They are human beings. And some things happen where you can't stay rooted in the same spot away from your family, unable to attend to matters that maybe in a normal season, you could just take off for practice for the day and come back and just have that be it. This is just such a different, unprecedented situation. There is a feeling here of they just got to get through it. And at least the Clippers have depth that some other teams don't have, although that depth is, of course, slowly being eaten away. I want to move on, guys, to Houston. Russell Westbrook cleared. Sorry, Brian, you're the only guy, so we'll have to see if anyone's behind you in that gym. But Russell Westbrook cleared to practice this morning after finishing quarantine. The Rockets play their first scrimmage on Friday. He might not be ready by then, but he expects to be ready soon. Take a listen.
Just being home and being by myself for such a long period of time away from my family and my teammates and the organization. So I'm definitely excited to kind of get back on there on the floor and get things rolling.
I think we'll wait the next 2 practices to see where he is, see if he wants to just be thrown out there real quick, or he wants another couple of days. Whatever he wants is cool. He knows his body, and again, we're not talking about just a normal athlete. We're talking about a super athlete.
I don't have a fear if I can make a layup at this point. I got to start there first. Once I start there, then I'll work my way from there.
Brian, I was at Rockets practice this morning, and I can vouch Russell Westbrook, shockingly, can still make a layup. So that's solved. That's good. But how quickly do you think that the Rockets need Russ at top condition with seeding games just over a week away? And we showed the standings there. The Rockets are in a seeding fight.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate thing we have to look at, but we just don't know how fast people recover from the virus. And we also can't really base it on other players because everybody's experience with it seems to be different. So it's just really difficult to project it. But I guess at the end of the day, the Rockets, we're missing some players. They have them all back. Luke Richard Mbute is supposed to be joining them today, so they have another piece of reinforcement getting there. And again, Rachel, as long as you are hitting your stride by the time the playoffs come, which is mid-August, I guess they should be fine. The seeding in the West is tight. They could lose a position or two if they have to play without Russell. But historically, Russell has rebounded from injuries and recoveries very fast. And I think that's attributed to the fact that he's an incredible athlete. I just don't know if that means anything coming back from the virus. I guess we'll all wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. He told me that he tested positive right after 4th of July weekend. He wasn't feeling sick. He said he had a little bit of a stuffy nose. That was it. He told me he never would have thought that he was COVID positive if it had not been for the league's mandatory testing starting. So a really interesting window into how this testing is working, catching cases before players infect other fellow players. As for the Rockets, however, they do have confidence. I talked to PJ Tucker this morning as well, Brian. As you can imagine, the 4 months off did a world of good for his body because he has been getting so beaten up all season, playing against bigger guys and banging down low at his position. And the question of seeding doesn't sound like it's very important to this team. At least that's what they're saying. Do you think, Brian, the seeding in the West is going to be as significant this year if there's no home court or not home court and no fans in the stands?
In theory, no. But I would say that that they would love to get a chance at the Lakers in the second round. If they could hang on to that 4 or 5 and get a team in the Jazz who they beat twice after going with their small ball. They like that matchup. They like how they can take Gobert out of the game. And then, they did beat the Lakers. They were one of the few teams that actually got to the Lakers in the last couple of weeks before the shutdown because the Lakers were playing so well. I think they like where they are in the bracket right now. It's just so tight, and it's a matter of how it goes. And I agree with you. I think they're going to see teams not focused on seeding because home court is kind of irrelevant. But I do think that where they get seeded could affect where the Clippers or where the Rockets end up going in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's so interesting, too, right? Because we saw the Nuggets try to make a bit of a seeding play last season. They won't acknowledge that, but it was pretty clear watching them play their final games. And that came back to bite them in the end. They didn't make it to the Western Conference Finals as they expected to. So sometimes it's a little bit of a matter of be careful what you wish for. But your point about the Lakers is a good one. And remember, that was right after the trade deadline. It was the debut, really, of the Rockets' micro ball strategy. And you had that very specific visual of the tip-off of James Harden giving up several inches when he tried to go off for the jump ball at the beginning of the game. And yet they won the game. And D'Antoni said afterward it gave them a lot of confidence. It will be interesting to see if they take that confidence into the playoffs. All right, coming up, Minnesota owner Glenn Taylor listening to offers for the team. What would it mean if Kevin Garnett was part of the group that purchased the Wolves? We're going to discuss that. First, though, we continue our countdown to the restart with the best plays of the season. We are 8 days away from the official first real game that counts. So here's number 8 from, former Timberwolf himself.
Here we go.
Time, and right now it's in the Clippers to the finals.
We know who we are. We know we stack up against the best in the league.
The Clippers win round 1 with the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard is better than LeBron James. That's the Lakers' problem. James, step back, knocked out of his hands.
Can you describe the challenge defensively when LeBron? No challenge.
The league is not what it is if the Lakers are not winning.
LeBron James putting on the finishing touches.
I want to see the two teams in LA going at each other's neck.
This is what the NBA is about.
All right, we are down to single digits, 9 days before the real games begin. Until then, we got scrimmages to hold us over, and those begin tomorrow for the Los Angeles Clippers and many other teams. They play the Magic. Needless to say, the entire team is ready to get back to work. Hello, Paul George. Hello, head coach Doc Rivers, who is excited for the games, but he's also looking at the big picture. Listen.
The league's been great. They really have been, they've done everything right as far as I'm concerned. I mean, when you think about that, we're running a village for the first time. League's doing pretty well in city management. There is a lot of stuff we can do here, but as far as our health, we have an app every morning that you have to do. You're wearing bands. Everybody are wearing face masks, when you're out in public.
It's been good, You're able to be around, the guys that you've been missing for the past 3-4 months. Next scrimmage is just getting in shape, getting our team chemistry together, getting the flow, getting the rhythm. That's what I expect us to do. It definitely feels like a training camp. You're going 2 weeks or so without playing a basketball game. But I guess the pleasures is, just like you said, team bonding. Just enjoying your teammates' company pretty much.
See, sometimes it's the little things for